Halloween.
Forever.
Well, good evening, Stephen. How's it hanging?
It does not hang, Brian. I am 40 to 50 years old. It no longer hangs.
Somewhere between 40 and 50 years old. I as well. Well, I got one for you. Are you prepared?
Yes.
Prepare yourself.
Mhm.
You know how you find the blind man at the nudist colony?
He's the only one with clothes on is usually...
That's not a joke. That's not
Okay.
a punchline. Nope.
It's kind of a punchline because it's like he wandered in there, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
No. He's there on purpose.
Okay.
How do you find him?
I don't know. How?
That's not hard.
Yes.
Welcome, boils and ghouls, to a saucy little mini-sode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Steve.
And you might be asking yourself, why the nudist joke? Well, here's my thought process. You remember that guy who won the first season of Survivor, Richard Hatch? Remember how he was naked on his birthday and it was a big thing?
Yeah.
That is my only bit of Survivor knowledge. That's the only
That can't be your only bit of Survivor knowledge.
It's pretty close. I personally only watched the first season, and I was what year did Survivor? I don't even know what year it came out. It was probably the 99, something like that. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say it was 98 or 99. I don't know.
Yeah.
My parents, however, have watched every season and can still watch it to this day. They are one of those boomer folks who are keeping the show popular, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's all I remember because I watched that one season, and I remember he was in 1999 to be nude. Although you didn't see anything, obviously, to be nude on camera, but then also to be gay and nude was so alarming to America. That's all I remember.
He was gay and nude and sometimes evil because he also played the game.
Of course, because he was the first person to ever win, and then now it's commonplace to be evil, right. I assume. But back then,
everybody's
they were
evil.
like, "This is the Antichrist. He's comfortable with his body. He's gay, and he lies."
I saw his sting ring, and he tricked me. What? How terrible!
Oh, if that ain't the devil, I don't know what is.
But Brian, shamefully, you are okay. I've never seen a season of Survivor. I've seen maybe an episode, maybe. Okay. But because it's on in fucking Jiffy Lubes and shit like that. But
I suppose it might be sometimes.
Yeah. But you're forgetting that Beaver County's own Amber Burkich was a contestant.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Fourth or fifth season or some shit like that. I don't know.
I do vaguely remember that as well. Yeah. I don't remember how she did, or I don't remember watching her. I do not believe I gave a shit. Again, in 1998, or 99 or whatever this was, I was like 14 years old. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was just jacking off. That's pretty much all I was doing. I wasn't watching Survivor. I was really focused on cranking down as much as possible. And skateboarding and stuff like that. I don't give a shit about. I was out there just being a badass, cranking hog and kicking flips. That was all I was doing.
Here's how little I fucking actually know about this lady. She was on the second season of Survivor, which was 2001, but also she was on Survivor All-Stars, The Amazing Race 7, The Amazing Race 11, and then Survivor Winners at War from 2019, meaning she has just made a career out of CBS shitty game shows.
Good for her. Good for her. She's probably like as far as non-sports celebrities that came out of Beaver County, because like the top 10 are all football players, you know what I mean? Pretty much exclusively. Yeah. And Joe Namath and Tony Dorsett, I think maybe, is he from Beaver County? I don't know. We got a lot of famous football players from Beaver County, but take away the athletes, she's got to be top 10 most famous Beaver County folks of all time. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, she's either above or below the guy who trained the Taliban, who I mean, honestly, that guy was played by Philip Seymour Hoffman in Charlie Wilson's War. So I don't know, maybe not as famous. I don't think you know Kate Winslet has played Amber Burkett in a movie yet. So
not yet is the operative word. You also may be asking yourself, why the fuck are these guys going on for 10 minutes about Survivor? Well, the reason is we're watching a movie all about a survivor, and also the show itself is very relevant and comes up many times in the new. I'll call it an action horror revenge film. I don't know what to call it, but it's comedy. Directed by certainly a comedy as well. Directed by the great Sam Raimi, who of course we all know from The Great and Powerful Oz. Just kidding. Obviously, we know from Evil Dead and Darkman and all that good stuff. But he directed a new movie that just released this very year, the year of our Lord 2026, called Send Help, which I assume it saw a theatrical release. I missed it in the theater, and I only became aware of it when it came on the streamings.
Yeah, it actually did pretty well in theaters, I believe. It was good. It was big. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. So yeah, good. Yeah, I can see this movie, although it has some very graphic, horror, violent moments, and certainly it's got its fair share of blood and gore. I feel like this movie would appeal to a pretty broad audience, not just like somebody who's watched, Evil Dead 90 times. But we're going to talk about Send Help here in a hot sec. But of course, guys, we got some shit we got to do at the top of the show. So your roll, Steven, I know for a fact that you're slurping on something. First question, is it a wet one? Yes or no? Yes.
Second one, all right, got that out of the way. Second question, how wet is that thing?
Yo, it's actually pretty wet. Like, here's how wet it is. Yeah. It's called Cali Creamin'.
Oh, no shit. That is fucking hella wet.
Yeah. From the Mother Earth Brew Company out of Vista, California.
Yo.
This is their Cali Creamin' Orange Creamsicle.
Wow.
Now, Brian, I know you're thinking, here he goes again with that goddamn gloop glop.
He's on his bullshit again.
But it really isn't. It's only 5%, and it's actually a really clear beer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm not slipping. It is not overly vanilla. It's not like, sucrose in a can. It is actually really drinkable. I think you might even like this. I would compare it to that Arsenal orange blossom cider, but as a beer. Okay.
But it's got vanilla, I assume, because it's got it's very a creamsicle.
Yeah, very little. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? On a hot enough summer day, you get that thing nice and cold, and your boy might slide into that thing. I don't love how I said that, but it's behind us and it's on recording, so we're going to stick with it. I'm going a completely different direction. I think I talked about this beer on the old podcast in the past, but I am drinking one of my very favorite sessionable, spontaneously fermented, funky-ass fooder beers. I'm drinking Bam Beer from Jolly Pumpkin up there in Michigan. I don't know if I've drank this beer on the podcast or not before, but I fucking love it. This is one of the first like spontaneously fermented beers to be like, I remember one of the first ones that I ever had way back in the day. They've been around for a long time, and this beer is just so fun and consistent for the style. Dry, drinkable, spritzy, just tart, funky. It's just you could just drink an absolute shitload of it. I love this beer.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned, I know we've definitely talked about Jolly Pumpkin plenty of times, and your love for their foeder beers. So I think you have talked about Bam beer in the past, but yeah, go ahead. Sing its praises again. Yeah.
I will. It got a little Brett character to it. Got a little bit of that, a little sweaty kind of barnyard, horsey, composty, wet hay type of thing going on. But then it's got some some kind of bright lemony notes. It's like kind of perfumey. It's a lovely beer. If you've not had it, if you see it, this is a beer that's been around for a long time. People don't really talk about it anymore, and it's fucking better than 95% of the things on the shelf. So check it out. All right. We got at least a couple of other tangs we got to do at the top of the show. First of all, if you remember, last week we did our punishment episode. And you and me had to watch some dog shit because we lost the showdown. I'll explain what a showdown is here in a second if you don't know what that's all about. But we spun that spinny ass wheel one more again. And we got 3 potential topics for our showdown episode for June. And if you don't know what a showdown is, here, let me explain it to you right quick. Here's what it is. Every month, we lay a big, salty, sweet log of content every damn Monday for you. But the first Monday of every month, we do a showdown episode where me, Steve, and our guest, or potentially our collective Patreon community like we did in May, pick a movie associated with the topic, and then we argue about it, and someone gets powerbombed, someone gets fucking jackknifed, somebody might get like 10 or 12 European uppercuts, and eventually we vote on it, and somebody who takes home the son of a bitch championship strap for the month. But the place we get that topic from is the spinny ass wheel. It's got a bajillion potential topics on it. We spin it 3 times. We get 3 potential options. We put them on the social medias for our friends and listeners to vote on. Those 3 topics that may or may not end up as our May showdown topic are least intimidating killers, favorite Hitchcock flicks, and spooky books. And of course, we're talking about books in movies, not movies based on books, because that's a whole other topic we got on the spinny old wheel. Steven, do you want to tell the boils and ghouls at home what we're going to be doing for June?
Hello, it is me, Steve from the future past. The winner was least intimidating killers. Like, by a lot.
All right, so now you know, and now we know, of course, and if I know and you know, then we'll just do the wink at each other, and we'll assume we both know. So if you have some potential movies that are associated with that topic, they're like, man, you should pick this one. This is the best one. You can slide into the old DMs on the social medias at Halloween is Forever. If you want to send us an old-fashioned email, you can do that at HalloweenIsForeverPod@gmail.com. All right, before we get into this fun little flick, Steven, why don't you tell the boils and ghouls what we got going on Patreon? Because shit should be wild. Should be popping off over there.
Shit do be popping off over at patreon.com/HalloweenIsForever. And all you have to do to be a part of the shit that pops off is to sign up and give us $5 dues.
That's it. Give us your money. Give me
Get
your
the
money.
money. Get the money.
Give it to us.
Please. We need it. But after
You guys can't see it, but I'm squeezing my butt cheeks together so hard when I say, give me the money.
His face is turning so red. You don't want that. He's going to hurt himself, people.
I'm going to hold my breath until you give us your money.
But once you do, you get all kinds of goodies. And among those goodies is you get on our Discord. You get to chat with the folks. You get to watch episodes happen live. You get to chat with us as episodes happen live. And you get all kinds of reviews and recos. You get, sundry random posts I put up from time to time. We just had a quick vote as to what this episode was going to be, because Brian and I couldn't decide, so we gave it to the patrons, and then the patrons told us, and that's how things happen. So if you want to be a part of deciding how the show goes, then you sign up for the Patreon, and in exchange you get all the things I just mentioned, as well as a bonus episode. And right now we're doing a series called God Is Not Forever, where Brian and I examine cinema and we try to figure out how to use cinema to kill God.
This has been my New Year's resolution year over year. Have not been successful up to this point, but this year we got a plan. And we're working through it. We just watched a weird old angel flick called The Prophecy last month, and then this month we're gonna watch Dogma, a Kevin Smith joint, which ain't a horror movie. But it's about all kind of fun stuff that's relevant to the topic, and then you get all the back episodes of, like, God, it's about to be a couple $100 of content on there. We got a lot. If you can't get enough of our stupid fucking voices, this is the way to go. Patreon.com/Halloween is forever. All right.
Yes.
Anything else before we get into this? This son of a bitchin' movie.
Nope. On with the movie. Like I said, directed by the great Sam Raimi. We are going to talk about 2026's Send Help. Just came out this very year. Stars and a really fun performance, I think. I wouldn't say I loved every single thing about it, but a really fun performance by Rachel McAdams, and she's been in what do people know her from? Probably primarily besides The Notebook. I mean, I think people immediately think of Notebook. Girls.
Oh, Mean Girls. That's the other big one. Yeah, I was like, damn, there's another big one. She's in a lot of big movies, and I was like, what do I most know her from? And I was like, The Notebook, yeah, but yeah, no, it's definitely Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And of course, the hot chick from 2002, starring fucking Rob Schneider. She's in that as well.
Oh, yuck.
And I won't let her forget it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring it up.
As well as she shouldn't. But she's also in the very, I think it flies under the radar. I don't want to say underrated. I hate calling things underrated. But she flies under the radar in Game Night from 2018. Did you ever see that?
I don't think so. I know, I'm familiar with it. I remember trailers and stuff, but I don't think I ever saw it.
Yeah, you should watch it. It's a really funny, just like kind of not black comedy, but it has like an unnecessary action grit to a story about like just friends who get together and do a game night together, and it
interesting,
devolves into like this action thriller. But she has one of the most amazing line reads just ever in a scene, but I won't spoil it for you.
All right. Fair enough. I'll put it on the old to watch list. The other relatively small cast here. The other guy, I would say the co-star or supporting actor here, Dylan O'Brien. He's been popping off here a little bit in recent years. The only thing I think I know him from, he was in like a Transformers movie. He's in these Maze Runner movies, which I think have an audience, weirdly enough, but they're from like the teens. They look asinine. I think they're based on like a fucking mobile game. They look terrible.
I thought they were based on a book. I thought it was a...
Is it a book? Okay. I thought they were based on some dumb video game.
Yeah, I thought it was like... What's the other one? The one with Jennifer Lawrence? I don't remember.
I could just think of Mockingjay or whatever is one of them called, but it's the Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah, the Hunger Games. Yeah. So, yeah, the Maze Runner series is like just a cheapo version of the Hunger Games. Like
it's the Big Lots best-selling YA novel.
Yeah. Like it's all I could think of. Like I was like, I'm not watching The Hunger Games. I'm definitely not watching whatever the Maze Runner is. That sounds fucking stupid.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at it. It doesn't look fun. But one thing I did see him in, but I didn't really remember that it was him. But a couple years ago, they did that Saturday Night. The movie was kind of about like, the first season of Saturday Night Live and how it came together and all that stuff. And I have a long time obsession with Saturday Night Live and like the early days of Saturday Night Live and Lorne Michaels and all that shit. So, and he played Dan Aykroyd in that, and I thought that was a weird choice for Dan Aykroyd, but they didn't really, try to match people's like appearances or even like vocal stylings or anything. But in any case, that's the only other thing I saw him in. But I liked him okay in this. I think he's a very kind of over the top and cartoony in this movie. But I think this is a movie that calls for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a Sam Raimi movie, so like, of course, there's going to be a lot of cartoony elements to it.
Yeah, this movie is nothing if not over the top. Those are really the main folks in the movie. Dennis Haysbert is in it, which I would call out from because he's in a Michael Mann movie. He's in Heat. And I think now most people would know him as like the voice of, I don't know, State Farm or one of those fucking insurance.
Yeah.
It was Farmers. Maybe it's Farmers.
I think it's Farmers Insurance. Yeah, or maybe that's J.K. Simmons. But yeah, he's the voice of like, he's a spokesman for one of those things. And I think most people would remember him as the president on the 24 series.
Okay. All right. Didn't watch it. Missed it. Would have loved to have seen it. Missed 24.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's the one with Kiefer Sutherland, right?
Right. Yeah. That's
okay.
I mean,
I probably would actually like it because I like a Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah. It's a it's a thing that definitely has not aged well because it's just a bunch of like not war crimes per se, but it's a bunch of like fash behavior from Kiefer Sutherland in service of.
You want to watch Kiefer Sutherland waterboard somebody? Come check it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that feels like the type of like. It just kind of feels like boomer porn. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Yeah. I mean that was the introduction to that stuff, and now you just have shows called FBI where they just gun down people that they called terrorists. Like.
Yep. Yeah. Sounds about right. All right. So this movie, like I said, primarily stars really two people. It's Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. Rachel McAdams plays Linda Little, and Dylan O'Brien plays Bradley Preston. Okay. And we start out with Linda, and this is, one of those movies where you take a, drop dead gorgeous person and then make them not comb their hair and give them like not super stylish clothes. And you're like, well, now they're ugly, which is obviously not even remotely true. Would be extremely difficult to make Rachel McAdams unattractive. And they're mostly unsuccessful at doing so. But they kind of set up with her that she is this like very smart, very capable woman in this like corporate environment. And she's been basically in line for a big promotion to like a VP job. She is kind of like the like analyst type of person, right? She's really, good with numbers. She's the numbers person, and she's been kind of supporting the, senior leadership of this company for a long time. The guy who started the company and was the president of the company died. And his son is taking over, which is Dylan O'Brien, Bradley. She's expecting this, him to basically honor what his his father said he was going to do, which is give her this promotion. They really set her up to be this kind of like, I don't know. It's mixed. I have mixed feelings about how she's portrayed, because they set her up to be this kind of like very sad sack at times. Where they make her feel like she's like, they make us feel like she's like lonely, but in other instances she's very like, I don't know, just a self-contained kind of person who just is likes to be on her own. So I don't know exactly what they want you to think about her, but she's not.
I can tell you what they want you to think, Brian.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
What are you going to say?
This is a Spider-Man movie.
Oh no! Is this a Spider-Man movie?
This is a Spider-Man movie. You got Spider-Man, brother.
Damn it! God damn it! It always sneaks up on me.
Let's start with the evidence first. Her name is Linda Little. That's a Stan Lee naming convention.
That is. He loves an alliteration.
But also, Ash's girlfriend in The Evil Dead, her name was Linda as well. I don't believe we get a last name on her though.
Interesting.
So,
Sam Raimi loves a Linda.
Yeah. So I think just to say up top, this entire film feels like Sam Raimi just dragging his 40 years of experience into this film and doing everything that he's done over those past 40 years. It works. It's a fun film that way. But the first 20 for sure, and then maybe 30 to 40 minutes of this film are a Spider-Man film, because we are given Linda Little, who is, like this trod upon like punching bag. She's bullied by everybody. She's not seen as capable. And then an event happens, and in that event, she loses her glasses. As we've discussed in the past, that happens in every Spider-Man film. Spider-Man loses his glasses.
Yep.
Sure. And then she becomes the capable one. Her powers get to shine because the script gets flipped. In this case, nobody's bit by a spider. It's a plane crash, and then everything that she's trained for gets to come out. Yeah.
Yeah, god damn it! I got Spider-Man again, and I didn't even realize it. I don't watch them superhero flicks, as we've discussed in the past. So these tropes really sneak up on me. But yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah, this is her finding her superpower, or really, we'll get to the kind of overall message at the end, because I think it's not as black and white as you might think it's going to be, kind of halfway through this movie. In any case, yeah, she lives at home with her bird. She's always eating tuna fish and chugging wine, and she loves Survivor, the television show Survivor. And she's talking to her bird about how much she loves Survivor. Again, they're kind of painting her as this sad sack. But again, she's kind of self-sufficient. She kind of is just like a bit of a lone wolf type of person, but they show her being taken advantage of at work, specifically by this prick asshole who looks like he's trying to dress like fucking what's his name, Bateman.
Patrick Bateman.
Patrick Bateman. He looks like he's trying to be like this fucking Patrick Bateman looking dildo. He's played by Xavier Samuel. The guy's name is Donovan. The character's name is Donovan. He's taking credit for her work. You just are set up to hate this fucking guy. She comes in. She is extremely awkward socially. So we have this very awkward. It's the first 20 minutes is almost kind of like cringe porn a little bit, where it's just like her saying awkward things. She thinks that Bradley like tried to hit on her at like a company Christmas party, so she thinks they have a relationship that they don't have. She's just saying awkward shit. She's got like tuna fish on her face, whatever. But then we get a candid kind of look at Bradley talking to his second in charge of the company. He's just starting. He's just getting announced as the new president of the company. And he's just like, yeah, fuck her. She makes me want to barf. I hate her. Not only does he not want to give her the job, he's like, move her to a satellite office somewhere where I don't have to look at her. Like,
send her away.
Just establishes himself as a giant prick. He's interviewing other people. He only is hiring and interviewing either people he knows or women he wants to have sex with.
Right.
That is exclusively what he's into. So you get an idea of what he's supposed to, what he's up to.
Yeah. The other, so here's another way, and I guess because you haven't seen these movies, you would recognize it though. But especially in these scenes with the whole tuna fish incident and with making his second in charge, like smell the tuna fish on his hand, it's all done with these extreme close-ups. And
they do the extreme, almost, I don't want to say fisheye is not the right way, but these like almost magnified crazy close-ups.
Yeah, they're like it's magnified really close and then also shot with like shallow depth of field. So all you can see is like the hand with tuna fish and then everything kind of blurs in the background. And this was... Not that Raimi didn't use extreme close-ups before that, because he definitely did in like Quick and the Dead. But these really sensory shots, because you have like a real extreme close-up of Dennis Haspert's nose, getting a whiff of the tuna fish and the tuna fish on his hand. All of that really came into play when he made the Spider-Man films, because it was all supposed to be like he did a lot of extreme close-ups on Tobey Maguire, to illustrate his spider sense. And so he's just kind of reusing those kind of shots. Because, like I said, he's used extreme close-ups in the past, but it's just, it's a thing that he really perfected for the Spider-Man films. And so because in this first 20 minutes, we're in a Spider-Man film, we're getting the same things.
Yeah, I will say, and the only reason it wasn't obvious for me that this is a Spider-Man film is because they didn't do no upside down kissing, and that's the only way you're really going to get my attention as a Spider-Man film, because that's the only thing I remember. Anyway,
well, they get kind of close.
Yeah,
because
no one's hanging from a spider web, and I know that's on the nose, but I really need to see someone hanging from a spider web and someone else getting upside down.
Yeah. I mean, she almost gives the dead flight attendant a spider kiss, but
That's true. All right, so they agree to bring her on this trip to Thailand, kind of because she is good with numbers and she's got to solve some business problem for them. And he's going to hire his shitty, frat bro. Donovan is getting the job that she wants. So she marches into the office, and kind of faces him. She's very flustered, and he basically tells her she's ugly and lame, and that's why she's not getting the job. It's a rough scene. But he spins it on her, asks her to come on this flight to Bangkok. We get introduced to Zuri, which is Bradley's fiance. She's like this extremely tall, like supermodel looking woman. Good line though. Whenever she's so flustered, all this is happening. She just got told, this devastating news. She's like trying to keep it together. And she's like, this is my, fiance or whatever. And she greets her, or no, I'm sorry. Her like parting phrase to her, I think she meant to say like congratulations on the engagement kind of thing, but instead she just says happy fiance.
Yeah.
And she's like, I am a happy fiance.
I am. Thank you.
Yeah, she does the whole like, keeping it together, leaves the office, goes like cries in her car and like tries to psych herself up to get past this. But she comes with a good attitude, and she solved their big business problem and all these things onto the private jet with Bradley and his douchebag other executives. So they're on the plane. She's fixing she's like creating the report or whatever that's going to fix their problems. Meanwhile, they're just basically in the other like room of this little private jet. and they have found her survival audition tape. And it's, obviously very embarrassing, and she's like really enthusiastic, and they're watching the computer. And she finally realizes that she's done it, or that what's happening. They're laughing at her, and then she just like deletes the work that she was doing to fix the problem. Anyway, great line in this one. Bradley, they're like, hey, there's like a jerk, and they're all like, whoa, what was that? And the flight attendant's like, hey guys, sit down. We're experiencing a little bit of turbulence. And he's like, yeah, take your seat, boys. If you're a fucking pussy. Which did make me laugh. Like, he's just such a genuinely stupid guy.
Yeah. And they all are. They all are. Yeah. They're all just chum for the water in a couple seconds. But yeah, it's just it's so stupid boys club shit.
Yeah. But like you said, the inciting incident here hits, fast and furious. Literally, like the plane, another big like turbulence, something hits something. You're not sure what happens, but literally one of the douchebags gets like slammed up against the ceiling. People are getting thrown around. The plane starts like falling apart, like coming apart very, very quickly. They're getting sucked out the door. She was the only one who had the brains to actually put on her seatbelt, so she's safe. Bradley gets his seatbelt on, but the other two, Donovan in particular, is like climbing up her legs. Like he's like, give me your seat. Wants her to literally give up her life for him. Like in his panic, he's hanging on. Like imagine he's about to get sucked out of the plane. He starts like strangling her. Like he's obviously fighting for his life. And she just grabs a fork and stabs him in the hand. He gets sucked out of the plane, and his dumb little necktie kind of hangs him, and he's just bouncing off the side of the plane. So he gets dispatched quite quickly. We do get that, as you mentioned, jump scare of the I couldn't tell because it was kind of like you get the shot of this like disfigured other person, and I couldn't tell if it was the flight attendant or if it was the other douche young executive guy. I'm not sure.
Yeah I think it was the flight attendant, and just she was just upside down and almost gave her a little spider kiss right on the face.
Yeah, she's all dead. Everyone's dead. Mm-hmm. There is a tremendous amount of CGI in this movie, most of which I think works pretty well. They use it primarily to shoot things that would be otherwise unshootable.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like this plane crash, and then like literally her like floating out in the middle of the ocean with like the plane like sinking beside her. It just lends a lot of like scope to how absolutely fucked she is, right? Crash in the ocean. It's a pretty cool scene of like just basically her by herself, and the plane's crashing into the ocean, and then her having to, this harrowing escape, having to get out of her seatbelt, all this stuff. Flash cut to the next day. She wakes up. She's washed up on a desert island. And her and Bradley, the dickhead boss, the only ones who've survived. So he's hit his head. He's got like a wound on his head. His legs. His main wound is his legs all gashed up and all fucked. And she immediately goes into, survivor mode. She builds a little lean-to to shelter him from the sun. She collects rainwater. She finds food. Like she just is immediately jumps straight in. He wakes up and like kind of says thanks. And then she like builds a fire, catches fish, is like feeding him because he had been unconscious for what they say, like a day and a half kind of thing. By the time she was, by the time he woke up, she's already like a day and a half into this like kind of survival mission here. And he immediately just like tries to pull rank and is just like a super dick to her. And she just takes her stuff and leaves and just like, all right, you can be by yourself. And she doesn't come back so he gets, we get this like almost montage progression of him getting like him being indignant and then pissed and then super angry and then scared and then panicked and
and until it just ends on like his like lips have turned white as he's like just frothing the last of his essentially liquid that he has in his body, and he's just like chapped lips and everything. But I love the way it's filmed because it's just the same repeated pan over and over again. And it's such a simple, effective way to show passage of time, but like it's a camera movement. Like hardly ever people like have I don't know, people don't move cameras the way Sam Raimi does. And so that's why you appreciate his films, because he actually knows how to grab that fucker and make it move.
Yeah. I mean, this is just if I haven't said it already, like extremely entertaining movie. It just like it flies by. I mean, the first 20 minutes, I would say like there's some parts where it's like, hey, we can move this along. But once it gets into the action, I mean, this is like an hour and what is it, like 115-minute long movie. Like this is approaching a 2-hour movie, and it moved really quickly. So she does come back, kind of gives him some water, just basically enough to like make him start feeling like dependent on her. She eventually decides she's going to go boar hunting. Like she's made a spear, and we get this like insane boar hunting scene of her like coming upon this wild boar, and then there's like a chase and she stabs it, and then it like just goes wild on her, and she eventually is like got him propped up on a spear, like pinned against a log. She's stabbing the thing in the eye. It's like it gets a little, I mean, it's supposed to be outrageous, almost slapstick brutal, but the thing is like coughing blood all over her and
snotting on
like shooting an insane amount of snot all over her. This is the only part where I was like, I get it that you need it for this scene, but you just went so over the top, which is fun. Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, I was 100% on board, because also we have now moved from Spider-Man film to Evil Dead, because the boars, we go into boar vision, but boar vision is the same thing as Deadite vision. It's the low slung camera running through the jungle, and it chases her down, and then we have this insane confrontation where she is just getting blood and snot blown into her face, the same way that Ash does in Evil Dead movies. So I don't know, this totally works. I love this movie because it is just Sam Raimi's greatest hits transposed onto something else.
I get it. It's just when I think just the CGI sucks so much of the charm out of it for me. I don't know. I'm maybe too sensitive to it, but
the CGI is a little rough, but there is a practical puppet when it gets closer to her, because there's something she is banging on. There's something she's fighting and hitting. I can see how the CGI is a little rough, because the boar does look just absolutely insane, like beyond any normal boar you would see in the wild. But I don't know. I don't know. It still works for me because it's just he's also doing like a lot of Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah, it's like a dinosaur or something that gets and she ends up killing it, cooking it up, and they start to like their first kind of like bonding experiences over this meal. And obviously they haven't eaten, anything like this in, it's been days now. So they're super excited about it. So their moods are uplifted. And they have a little laugh together over like a dumb, like bacon joke or whatever.
Yeah. She continues to do she's full of just like kind of shitty, like coworker jokes. Like she has terrible social graces, and those never improve. But it's only a matter of how Bradley reacts to her. that makes you think, oh, like she's getting in or something. But like Bradley has this fuck ass little laugh that he's just constantly like like that he employs.
Just like
but it just lets you know that he doesn't actually believe in what he's doing at the time. Like the laugh is less of a laugh at Linda's joke. It's more of a laugh of, I'm getting one over on somebody.
Yeah. The big mystery of this movie is like, for most of it, is like, where do Bradley's intentions lie, and is he coming around, or is he still a piece of shit at heart? And you have these ups and downs with him, and then, you know, in the end, obviously the intentions of Linda start to come into question. But this is the first time they start to plant that seed for her. Is she's off, you know, hiking, exploring, whatever. She finds this beautiful waterfall, has this like super euphoric moment where she like looks at herself in like her reflection in like some water, and she just is like looking at herself in a totally different way. She feels, you know, like healthy and happy, like for the first time. And like, she's just like, feels like she's totally in her element, you know, on this island. So
Spider-Man film.
She's become Spider-Man.
It's a Spider-Man trope of like, you know, you look in the mirror and you see what you've become. And then I think he also might have used that in Darkman, when like he first perfects the thing that makes his skin good again, so he can see himself in the mirror. But yeah, there's lots of mirror stuff in Raimi films.
Yeah. So this is that, and then, you know, kind of to you know, put a you know, a stark directional change here. She kind of walks out and she sees a boat. You know, kind of like going along the shoreline, appearing like maybe it's a search boat, we're not sure. But she kind of hides, and she has this sudden realization that she doesn't want to be rescued. You know, and it's been like 2 weeks at this point, and she doesn't want to be rescued. She's like, not yet, kind of thing. So she, of course, doesn't tell Bradley there was a boat. And she starts to really like get more and more bold with him, like takes him down a peg or two, kind of thing. But then he tries to pull rank and decides he's going to fire her, to which she, you know, justifiably laughs and mocks him like, dickhead, we're on a deserted island. We might never be found as far as you know. And you're going to tell me you're going to fire me from my job. Like, who fucking cares? I'll stab you in the neck, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he finally takes upon himself to like, okay, I'm going to go do. He's still injured. His leg's all fucked up. He tries to do stuff on his own. He ends up eating this like fucked up bug. He like tries to spell help and like spells it wrong on the beach in like, you know, Palms or whatever. He's just worthless. Like, we just established that like if it wasn't for her, he'd be dead. He's absolutely worthless. She makes this. She has a knife, in which she says she found, or it washed up on the beach, and she makes herself like this amazing meal, and basically makes him like grovel and apologize and take back all of what he said about firing her and all that stuff. And then, you know, she lets him eat.
Yeah.
She's got her own little like kind of office now, so it's like this little role reversal situation.
Yeah. It's role reversal, and it's also, I don't know if you remember the George Lucas quote of, it was like, it's like poetry, it rhymes. When he's talking about, I don't know, he's going on about, you know, how it's from the prequels, behind the scenes stuff, and it's on like Red Letter Media a lot. Where it's a reference on there. But they're referencing, you know, George Lucas saying, you know, it's like poetry, it rhymes. But that does happen a lot in this film because, you know, like you said, Bradley eats a fucked up bug. And when he comes to grovel to Linda, she says, hey, you got something in your teeth, which is like, pieces of this fucked up bug. But that is a reversal to what he did to her earlier of like, she had a bunch of, tuna fish sandwich in her teeth. And so now he's here begging with shit in his teeth, and he's begging her for fish. So it happens a couple more times throughout the film. You can find it yourself, but yeah, there is a lot of that. It's like poetry; it rhymes.
Yeah, it's a very karmic revenge type of film. It's a big theme throughout the whole thing. She ends up like walking him up this cliff. She's trying to get his legs strengthened. They like walk up this cliff path. She's like showing him around. She makes it a point to say like, don't go to that side of the island over there, over yonder. That's covered in, dang old jagger bushes. And what does she say? Like poisonous vines or whatever. But then she almost falls off a cliff because some of the cliff like crumbles away, and he saves her. Okay. So now he cares a little bit about her at least. So we know that. So again, bonding, whatever. She has made some basically prison wine on the island, and they are so they kind of get drunk together and again bond a little bit. They talk about their past. She was married for 10 years. Her husband was a alcoholic asshole. He died. His parents were bad, whatever. She goes on to explain that her husband used to be like drunk and abusive, and she used to hide his car keys, and one time she just intentionally left his car keys out so he would leave, and he died in a drunk driving accident. So obviously not 100% her fault, but she feels like, she kind of gave him the loaded gun type of thing, I guess. And so she's got some guilt about that, but it also, says something about her and like kind of what she's capable of and that sort of stuff. She has a little too much to drink, and basically admits that she doesn't want to leave the island. Admits to Bradley she doesn't want to leave the island. Wakes up all hungover. He's like bathing naked. She's kind of peeking. So there's all this like, there's never like a lot of like explicit sexual attraction, but there's definitely some sexual tension that's happening quite frequently.
Yeah, it always feel, because I don't think they ever have sex, but it's always on her end. That it is like she still never gives up that attraction she first had from the Christmas party. Yeah. But but as always, like it's Bradley, using that to his advantage in his in his little fuck ass laugh.
Right. Great example. Like they're, out of nowhere where there's a crazy storm, their camp gets destroyed. They have to go like seek shelter in a cave, and then like he like suggests because they're all wet, suggests they like cuddle together for warmth overnight. So there's this little kind of romantic thing, and in the morning they decide to rebuild, and Bradley's like all eager about it now. Like he's been up for a while, he's been building whatever. His leg is mostly better at this point, and he's like, I'm gonna make you dinner tonight. And she's like, oh, whatever. So he makes her like this really nice looking dinner. And then she immediately starts like feeling really goofy and passes out. And then he comes out of the woods because he had brought up before that he wanted to build a raft and try to get off the island. And she was like, no, you're dumb. That's not going to happen. But she also was poo-pooing it because she didn't want to leave. So she had her own motives. But as she's like passed out, he comes running out of the woods with this shitty raft he has built, and just immediately starts getting his ass beat by the waves, and just like as he's out, walking out or paddling out to sea, he yells, "Fuck you, Linda!" and then immediately just gets pwned by a wave like 5 seconds later, and his whole thing falls apart, and he has to come back kind of in shame. and he's drowning. And, you know, he imagines his like fiance like coming to him as he's like sinking. But then he wakes up and it's not his fiance coming to him. It's Linda, and she's just barfing all over his face. So she has got herself together. She swam out. She saved him, but he poisoned her with these poison berries that she warned him of earlier. And she saved him, but she's just repeatedly barfing all over his face, like as she's trying to give him mouth to mouth. So kind of a comically gross comeuppance, right, that he's getting in this moment.
Yeah. It's back in line with, you know, the boar scene and all that stuff. So yeah, it wasn't just that one scene he was doing gross out stuff in. He does gross out stuff throughout the film.
Yeah. In the morning, he's just like crying, being a little bitch. She's like, you know, suck it up here, have some breakfast. She poisons him right back with some like, I don't know, cuttlefish venom or something. And basically it like kind of paralyzes him. And she explains like she's the boss now, and, you know, no one is coming. And, you know, you need to be like, you know, you're out of control. I'm going to castrate you. So there's this scene of her, like, basically he can't move. He's paralyzed, her pretending to castrate him. But it's like a rat. And, you know, she just does it to scare him, which is, yes, obviously that would have been wild for her to just castrate him out of nowhere. But of course you're like, oh, it's just a rat. All right.
It's wild. And it takes a turn to like its misery. Like
I mentioned that. I was like, I'm getting some real like Annie Wilkes vibes at times from her.
Because a lot of it is also like, it's in that monologue, but it's also before that. A lot of it is like, look how I take care of you. Why are you trying to run away when I take care of you so good? And so, yeah, it's a lot of Annie Wilkes, like, you know, misery vibes.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely picked up on that. Things are kind of getting back to normal. Like, oh, maybe he's starting to kind of warm up to the idea that, oh, you know, we're going to be here for an extended period of time or maybe forever and whatever. And then all of a sudden, a boat pulls up and it's his fiance with a guide. And she has been looking for him the whole time. They obviously want to, you know, naturally want her to lead them to Bradley. And the fiance is so overjoyed. They found her and in turn are going to find Bradley. Linda is obviously like very flustered, doesn't want this to happen. She basically takes them on like a wild goose chase back to their camp, up the cliff path. The fiance falls, you know, essentially at the same spot she did, or in the very same fashion she did. You know, the guide is trying to help her. And then they just cut to Linda and she's just kind of staring at them like, and they're like, why aren't you helping, kind of thing. And it cuts away. And then it just, you know, cuts back to her like walking back to camp. And she's very despondent and like just like lays in her like little hut all day. And she has some wild dreams that night of like the fiance calling to her in the night and like crawls out of the water like a zombie. And then, you know, when she goes to like attack her, it's just like a smoke hallucination kind of thing. And then we get a zombie jump scare, you know, popping up behind her.
This is real
fun little nightmare scene.
Yeah, this is real drag me to hell stuff he's doing here.
Yeah. Yep. So then Bradley decides he's going to hunt boar. While doing so, he finds his fiance's like half buried body sticking out of the sand with the engagement ring on it. He comes back to camp and there's this kind of showdown on the beach where she's playing stupid. And then finally he like is like, look, here's the ring. And she basically says like, you know, oh, she fell. It was an accident. You know, I didn't tell you because you wouldn't have believed me. Obviously he doesn't. And now Bradley has the knife and starts to, you know, this chase ensues. And there is a pretty brutal fight scene between the two of them that goes from a chase to like, then she turns the tables on him, starts strangling him with her shoelaces like it's a piano wire. This crazy melee. They're taking chunks out of each other. Like he rips part of her hair out, like scalp comes along with it. Like she just straight up Dawn of the Dead bites his neck, bites a chunk out. She ends up like, he ends up getting like on top of her and starts sticking his thumbs in her eyes. And there's a really obviously CGI, but very graphic image of him like sticking his thumb like deep into her eye socket and her eyeball being like displaced over. And her eye is like fucked after that. But then she pops up and is like, she gets the knife and gives him a good stab in the side. And she has the ring, which not to spoil it, but like she swallows the ring and yells, "Fuck you, Bradley!" like laughing maniacally as she swallows the ring. That never comes back. I really like I thought for sure something was going to come back about her swallowing the ring.
Yeah,
and it doesn't.
Yeah,
I think it was just like a wild gesture of like, "Haha, I swallowed your ring, bitch."
Yeah. It was just that kind of gesture. It was. I mean, I guess again, poetry, it rhymes, but Bradley tried to leave her and gave her the big double fuck you. And then she takes away his reason for leaving by killing his fiance and then swallowing the ring, it's symbolically in front of him of like, I'm your wife now, so fuck you.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. I have taken your entire life, He ends up on the side of the island that she told him not to go on because the poison vines or whatever nonsense. And he stumbles out, looks up, and there's literally like a giant penthouse built on the cliff. So he's now come to the realization that this is not a deserted island. This is just some ultra wealthy person's like private island. And she knew about it the whole time. That's where she got the knife. He goes in. He immediately starts chugging water out of the fridge and whatever. And she is watching him on the security camera. And she does the whole supervillain explanation over the like intercom of the security system. Like, I found it. I broke in. I waited for, I waited for the caretakers to leave. It's some, hedge fund billionaire dickhead's place, whatever. So now the tables have turned because like he was the scheming bastard the whole time. And now you see like she has been scheming even to a degree that, we as the audience did not know. And now we get the actual scene to show how not only did she let them fall, the guide and the fiance, but she actually brained the guide with a rock and let them both fall over the cliff.
I mean, brutal. Like, because that guy was just a boat driver. He
just got hired to, by this fucking rich woman to ride him around in a boat.
Yeah.
Ride her around in a boat.
Yeah. But yeah, it really cements that like, Linda has just as much ruthless, I almost said ruthless aggression, like the fucking WWE.
I know you almost said ruthless.
I couldn't figure out another word.
I heard it coming out of your mouth. She went through her own real ruthless aggression era.
Ugh, God damn it. But yeah, she has that kind of just villainous planning to her, and it's been happening. Yeah. As you said, it's been happening in the background longer than we've known about. But that's why the misery feelings, the vibes of that, or they're earned even more because it's like, oh yeah, she has been really just really plotting this out and just occasionally probably, we never saw it, but she probably just takes breaks, inside the penthouse and, drinks,
goes in the air conditioning.
Yeah. Like she just is enjoying luxury while she also, plots the way she's going to live her life out with, Bradley on the island.
eventually she has a shotgun trained on him, and he does this whole fake crying, saying how sorry he is, how he's changed, how he loves her and wants to stay here with her. Like, we're not buying it. She's really seemingly getting worn down because she not that she believes it, but she wants to believe it so badly. And then she looks over and there's this big, like, I don't know, it's like a bull, some sort of ornamental bull statue thing, and one of the horns are gone, and she realizes that he has he has the horn. He's going to stab her with it. And he whacks the gun away. He ends up getting the gun, tries to shoot her, but there's no bullets in the gun. And she kind of shows her true colors once again by, basically saying that, like, she planned this. Like, she knew what he was going to do. She knew this was going to happen to some degree. She ends up getting a golf club off the wall, braining him with a golf club, like on the ground. Like, so he's like on the ground and she literally like swings a golf club at his head. And they do this like fast cut to X amount of months in the future, and she's swinging a golf club in very much the same way, and she's like head bitch in charge now. She's at some celebrity golf outing. She's rich and famous. There's a movie about her. She's writing a book or some such shit. And she's being interviewed, by like a reporter about how harrowing her, experience was. And she's laying it on thick about how, she only did it because, through, sheer self-determination and willpower and, love for her colleagues or whatever bullshit. And then they show in just such a gratuitous final scene, her driving off in this like, beautiful car down the like, some seaside highway with her bird in the cage in the convertible, which is so, I mean, this is all CGI. Yeah. And then she just mugs right down the camera barrel. And it's like, and that's it. That's the movie.
It's a real like throwback to like kind of golden age cinema of like when there was like kind of the thrillers of like women getting away with murder type stuff, little noir nod in a way, with that I've done it all and
I'll get away with it too,
and I'm still out there somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, overall, extremely entertaining film, really fun. For me, it sounds like you liked it a little bit more than I did. Some of the kind of like, this is not a great way to describe it, but kind of like big budget stuff, whether it's all the CGI, the big grand sweeping Jurassic Park like, views of the island. Yeah. And I'm like, I get that you're trying to show the isolation and how far out she is, but how beautiful the landscape. I understand you're trying to show the island and have the island kind of be a character, but just every time I see these big sweeping CGI shots, I'm just like, I don't know. It just takes me out of it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I get that. I mean, it is really, because some of his last couple films have all been within that, that big Marvel studio and big budget stuff. He before this movie, he did, a Doctor Strange movie with Rachel McAdams in it. And that movie is nothing but spectacle, and people were really split on that one. I am slightly okay with it because he does inject like Raimi stuff, but like all of but like a lot of Raimi diehard fans were like, it wasn't enough Raimi. And all of the Marvel fans were like, ew, what is this? This doesn't look like my gray slop. Don't show me things that aren't my gray slop. So,
right.
So yeah, like, but because he's done like 3 Spider-Man films, that film, and then, you know, Oz and the Great and Powerful, which I have not seen. Like those are all big budget spectacle stuff. And I'm sure, you know, like, yeah, he's just injecting a lot of spectacle into this film as well. But I don't know, it didn't bother me that much because there's so much other stuff that he's, you know, like I said, it really feels like he's dragged, you know, 40 years of experience into this film, and he's just playing his his hits.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And this is a you know, this is a movie they spent about $40 million on, and they made $100 million in the box office, you know, and that's before it goes to streaming and stuff. So obviously this was a big bet, and he's got to, you know, I don't want to say play it safe, because he did do some wacky, you know, shocking shit that made the payoffs, all the payoffs felt earned and felt satisfying and felt fun and shocking and all those things, right? So I have no complaints about any of that. But yeah, so some of the other, like, yeah, big budget boxes you have to check when you're making a $40 million movie, I guess. So
yeah, sure.
With like a, I don't know if I would call Rachel McAdams like an A-list star, but she's a big star.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's like, yeah, that's not a knock. I know what you're saying, and it's not a knock on her, because it's just like, what is a star really anymore? Like, there's so few like names that come out as just like, oh yeah, that is the person right now, because there's just so many different platforms for film and TV. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like even if you thought of like a true kind of A-list actor, I feel like everybody immediately goes to like, you know, a Brad Pitt or a George Clooney or something like that. But they're just doing fucking, you know, Brad Pitt just does like Tarantino films every 4 or 5 years, and you know, and then, you know, George Clooney, you know, occasionally decides to be in like a Wes Anderson movie.
Wes Anderson or
like they're the ones,
Coen brothers, when they decide to work together.
Yeah, I mean, they're both old too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even really know who you would say is the big. I mean, maybe a handful of years ago you would have said like The Rock, you know, because he was in all those huge movies. But anyway, yeah, I mean, she's obviously a big big actor. So, you know, I understand they gotta pull those levers. But overall, really, really fun. Definitely worth checking out on the streaming services. I think it's on Hulu. I think if you don't have Hulu, it was like in that crazy, like, you want to pay $29.99 to rent it bullshit for a while, but I think it's now down to like a reasonable amount, you know, for like, you know, I don't know, $8.99 or $9.99 or something. But like I said, I think if you have like Disney Plus, Hulu, whatever that bullshit is, it's streaming on there for free.
Yeah, it's on Hulu for free, and you can get it for $10 on Prime. So, but either way, it's worth it. So,
yeah, it's a fun watch. All right. Any final thoughts on Send Help before we wrap this thing up?
No, nothing that comes to mind. Although we did miss one of Dennis Haysbert's roles that we both really should have keyed in on. Pedro Serrano from the Major League films.
Oh, of course, of course. A much younger version, a goateed version, if I recall.
Yes. Goateed, doing an accent that isn't his, showing his big balls.
Yeah, wasn't he doing like a Jamaican accent or some shit?
I think Dominican,
maybe it was. Yeah,
I think Dominican. Oh, Cuban. Yeah, you're right, Dan, in the chat. It was Cuban. Yeah, Cuban.
Yeah,
and
of course, that makes sense.
Praying to Jobu. So,
yeah. Oh, that's a fun watch. That's got to be streaming free somewhere. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Next week we'll have another Minisode for you, and we'll start talking a little bit more about that May showdown and what's going on with all that bullshit.
June showdown.
June. Oh, I said May again. June. All right. For the Halloween's Forever crew, I'm Brian.
And I'm Steve.
All right. See ya. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.